Hello everybody and welcome to Global Spec Racing. We are back here for Tier 1, the 8th season of GSR. And it is Monza. We're here for the Italian Grand Prix. I'm Ryan Ocon and I am joined by GSRTHRASHER today. Thrasher, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good as well. It's good to be back at another Italian race in GSR. This is the second one we have of the season, and it's actually back to back. And after a week break, we get to, kind of cool off, and we're back here for GSR, so that's always good. But what about yourself? How you feeling heading into today?
I'm intrigued. I can't wait to see, the Tier 1 races as normal. It seems like it's been, some of the most exciting racing of the season in all tiers, and sometimes it can be the dirtiest racing of all tiers. So,
Just never know.
yeah, that's right. You never know. Plus, it's Monza, so that adds a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of,
Unknown excitement, because there's a lot of
yeah.
unknown podiums that have happened in this league here at this track. So, and speaking of that, we'll go on to the Tier 3 and Tier 2 races that happened yesterday and earlier today. Tier 3, we had Riles win for the third time in the season, second time in a row. My podium in P3 helped Mercedes extend the championship lead in the constructors against Alfa Romeo and Williams. Harry DNF from the race. Metro DNF'd off the late race safety car. Dark Serene, a Tier 4 driver, split the two Mercedes, was second and was on the podium as a Tier 4 driver. I ended up getting on the podium after being pretty much dead last a majority of the race, which made it a Mercedes 1-3. 7 finishers from a 14-car race. The attendance for Tier 2 and Tier 3 have not been that great, so it's good to see a better attendance for Tier 1, obviously, 18 people. And with that being said, Tier 2 as well. Not the best attendance for them either. I crashed out on the start. I didn't really have a great race, but let's forget about my race. Let's go to the front of the field. Vapor JS and Fruity both made wrong strategy calls whenever it came to the wet period. As soon as the safety car came out, they went for mediums, and I'm assuming they meant to go for intermediates. That cost them a chance at the win. Vapor was stuck in the back. Fruity was stuck in the back from that point on, but the McLaren teammate Jimbo took the lead and had a penalty. Kept it ever since, and he won on track in the battle with Nossman and Lando. But Nossman and Jimbo both had penalties, meaning it was Lando who won the race, Jimbo in second, and Wingo, who didn't have any penalties at all, 7 seconds back from the podium, ended up taking a podium based off of penalties. Now, there was a little bit of controversy in the back between the two Ferrari drivers and Vapor JS, who got into a couple collisions, some intentional, some not, but a lot of the drivers at the back of the field have been battling so aggressively that it caused a lot of tension between them, and I'm sure the stewards will be wanting to look at that. And a couple things as well, too, that we'll be making sure to note is the start of the race at Monza. The start of the race at Monza and GSR is always crazy. I mean, if you go to the TikTok, you'll see a couple of videos from the start from last season in this race. But regarding this season, Tier 3, I got into a collision with Lizard at the start, off the line, in Tier 3, which, it was just racing. It was nobody's fault. And then in Tier 2, into Turn 1, I believe somebody punted Nossman into me, and that caused Ferrari to get punted as well at Turn 1. So a lot of chaos that we got to avoid, Thrasher, in this race for the start.
Yeah, agreed. Monza's always been a race in, any league I've been in that causes chaos, especially at the very start. So, when you go to a Monza race, you kind of expect some craziness to happen on the start, some chaos. So, hopefully, we can get through it today, or get through the start for Tier 1 without any chaos, but, if there will probably at least be some sort of chaos in the Turn 1.
For sure. And last week's race was also something we're going to go over quickly. Jab back to his winning ways. The championship winner from each season has won at least one Italian race in the last 3 seasons in GSR of Tier 1. So Jab is trying to keep that streak going alive, and I'm sure he will be able to do so. Jab didn't win on track, though. Speed Demon was the one who won on track. and he ended up finishing second off penalties. Jab won the race, though, penalties. Speed Demon took pole, by the way. Black Raw ended up finishing on the podium after a collision on the last lap between Patriot and I believe maybe Venom or somebody. Toon Archie ended up getting fourth. Patriot rounded out the top 5. A couple of notable people who DNF'd were Finn in the Mercedes, Sam in the Aston, JSR in the Williams, Jacob in the Alpine. All guys who probably had chance at being up front by the end of the race. Who knows? I mean, because it was a wet one in Imola last week. And regarding the point standings, let's talk about that quickly too. Thrasher, I don't know what the background noise is. I was just wondering, what is that? What's the background noise there?
Do you hear something?
Yeah, I do.
It's my TV. I have.
Ah, okay.
I had something.
Okay, I was wondering. I wasn't sure. Anyway, regarding there's a social media ping. I'll make sure to put this in streams and socials for you guys. But anyway, let's have you go over the point standings because Jab is still leading, but there are some people who can possibly make a comeback if something does happen, as I've always mentioned every week, and something never does happen. But hey, you never know. Anyway, go over the point standings, Rash.
Yep. So the point standings after Imola goes as follows: Jab completely showing his dominance from last season, continuing this season. He is currently up by 53 points. I think I did my math. 63 points, my bad.
Yeah, something like that.
So
yeah,
63
yeah,
points over Sabing Sap. And then has another 70-point lead. Caterpillar in third. So, basically, as long as Jab can continue to get little points finishes, it doesn't even have to be big, it doesn't even have to be race wins, just little points finishes, and I think he could keep that points gap, that point lead gap consistent. So we got Caterpillar in third, Sam fourth, Jacob fifth, Finn 6, Turner 7, Lewis Such 8, Blackdraw 9, and QBR 20 Term. Rounds out the top 10. And Constructors, McLaren again, due to Jab's enormous points lead, has a 54-point lead over Red Bull. So Red Bull is second with 118. Williams third with 99. Ferrari fourth with 62. 1 point behind them is Alfa Romeo in fifth. Alpine sixth. Aston Martin 7. Mercedes 8. AlphaTauri 9. And Haas rounds out the Tier 1 Constructors.
Now, I mean, I'm definitely surprised Term is not as far up as I would have expected, but that for sure I think is the biggest surprise of the season so far. He's not been able to get the results, but he's definitely had the pace to do so. Like I said, not been able to capitalize. Anyway, in the Constructors, combined Constructors heading into this weekend, we're going to go over this quickly so we can get to the qualifying session. McLaren, 300, nice. 436 points they have at the top of the table ahead of Mercedes, who sits second. I would say, just off of my guesstimation, about 60, 70-ish points back. Williams in third, Aston, and then Red Bull around at the top 5, all hitting the 300-point mark. Then behind that, it's Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, AlphaTauri, Alpine, and then the battle for last is between Alpine and Haas. And, you know, that's something we'll focus on about who can get themselves above last place in the constructor standings, at least in combined, Alpine and Haas. And speaking of Alpine and Haas, for Tier 1, as you mentioned, Alpine 6th, Haas at 10th. So we'll have to focus on that for sure. Anyway, when it comes to, what was it? The drivers making their first starts. Reserves for tonight, as Dark Serene had mentioned to us. Bad F1 opinion is in the Aston Martin for Cameron. Let me make sure I have that correctly. Yes, he is in the Aston Martin for Cameron tonight. In the McLaren is Squire for Turner. In the Williams is Blonde for Viper. FG-A13X is in the AlphaTauri for V2K, if I'm correct on that. Let me just make sure. At least you should be.
I don't see him in the session.
I don't see him in. Yeah, that's what I'm going off of what Serena said.
Unless that's
so yeah.
Archie. but it's changed his game
No,
pattern.
it's not. No.
Yeah, so then now
And
he's...
Showers are, oh yeah, Seabauer's in the Red Bull. Is that the Red Bull? Yeah, that's Red Bull, I think.
No,
Sure.
it's the Williams.
The Williams, yeah. Well, look, a lot of blue in the
maybe it
grid,
is
so it's
the
hard
Red Bull.
to.
Hold on, let me... Yeah, it is the Williams.
Yeah, look, I'm blind. I apologize. Yeah, you're right. It is Williams. So yeah, I mean it's hard to tell, but I think I've not seen him before, so I think he's maybe making a first start. What else is there? I think that's about it, Thrasher.
That's it.
What do you think? Yeah. Anyway, let's see who's on a lap. FRT Alpha right now is on a lap. Let's go through the end of this lap to talk about what the circuit is like. As Finn is at the top of the session, 2/10 ahead of Sam, Shazoo partner. 3/10 up is FRT Alpha. As you head into a scar, you got to be careful about how you clip these curbs and how you enter the corner and how you exit the corner, because these curbs at this track are very, very deadly. You go to turn 1, you can hop over the curb. Turn 2, you can also hop over the curb, but you can also lose the rear by doing that too. And if you tend to do so, you may cause a stack up if you're in a DRS train, and this could get ugly at this point. But we have FRT Alpha and the Alfa Romeo coming to the line. What lap will he set? He's going to go up to the top 7 right there. And he is 7/10 behind Shazoo Finn at the top of the board. Who else is on laps? Weckass on a lap. Thrasher, you take us through the first sector, then I'll take us through the second.
Alright, so into turn 1, turn 2. Beautifully done. Shifts up a little bit. Early shifting here. As he goes through the long right-hander. Now into the second chicane and sector 1.
800's up. You got to be careful about how you touch those curbs on the inside. You do want to touch them to maybe gain a little bit of speed, but you don't want to touch them the wrong way. The two Lesmos here get to each of these curbs, but do not extend. You got to go all out right there. Look at that. Hit that outside curb. I mean, it might work most times, but just do not spin out at all, because the thing is here, these curbs are treacherous, and I think the only curbs that aren't so treacherous are the ones in the Lesmos for sure. Now, Thrasher, you take us through sector 3 as he's 2.5 up.
Alright, now through Ascari, beautifully done. Now to the long straight into Parabolica. Now, as he now shifts down to what I would assume 4th. Yep, and quick shift up the 5th through Parabolica he goes. As closest to the white line as you can. And goes P7 with a 120.252, barely in front of Alpha.
So as we get to the end of the session, something we'll be focusing on here is how much can these people improve, because Jab, your championship leader, has not really been close to pole recently, and it shows again today as he's only sitting 3rd right now in the timesheet. Look at turn 1 right now. This is insane with how many cars are close to one another and are about to start laps or are on laps. Ref Caterpillar almost had Weckass, I believe that was getting in the way for a moment, but Ref Caterpillar to the end of sector 1. Is he going to improve on where he's at? He's only 800s down. As you get to the second chicane, you can't clip that other curb, or you lose the rear, and then you jump the curb and then go into the barrier. That's something you just don't want to do. His end of the session is done. He's out.
Jab starting his lap.
Your championship leader heads into turn 1. We'll be focusing on the drivers now crossing the line. Sam is on an out lap. C. Bowers is on an out lap. Can they make it back to the start-finish line? We have an Aston Martin crossing the line. A bad F1 opinion improves a 10th, but it is not enough to improve the position. He will get one more lap in here. We have the Alfa Romeo crossing the line. That's Black Raw about to start his lap. And then behind that, it is
Sam.
Another Aston Martin of Sam. He starts a lap. And then it is a cluster back behind that. Finn is on a lap, and he's a 10th up for pole right here, with his Mercedes teammate Akos behind. I think Sam lost the rear at turn 1. He might have to abort this lap. His chance at pole could be over. But here comes Shazoo Finn across the start-finish line. He is 1,000th away from improving, and he did not improve, but he's still on pole.
Jab looks
Akos
like Jab back down his lap.
Akos will get another chance here too, I think, as well. He's about to
I can't
enter
see how
turn
much
1. We have a
time's
Williams
left.
now. Williams about to start
C.
and
Bowers.
cross the line. That's C. Bowers. Then you have Blonde as well, and the other Williams. Here's the Alfa Romeo. That's Alpha about to start a lap. Now behind that, you have the Haas of Astrief. He cannot improve. Therefore, he's going to have to start another lap. But can they all make it to the start-finish line? There's an AlphaTauri behind. Is that a driver setting a lap or improvement? I think that's... Here comes the McLaren of Jab. crosses the line. He starts his lap. And then the last one to try to start a lap is Venom. Now, here comes Black Rod across the start-finish line. Where does he go? Up to 8th. Behind that, it's Venom, who has not got to the checkered flag, but Sam hasn't got to the checkered flag either. Jab
Fins down.
completes the first sector. He's 400 up, but made a mistake at maybe the start of sector 2 to compromise his lap. Ian, you said Finn is down right now. Finn has to abort that lap. Can Akos and the Mercedes say no? He's invalid. Behind that is Blonde in the Williams, who's not set a lap in this session at all yet. He still has to set a lap. So does Brute, and so does Jab. That will end our session here in the Italian Grand Prix about people who can improve. Blonde is on a good lap too, I think.
Jab's up, but not enough. And he aborted it.
Crosses the line. He goes to the front row. And Jab is out of the session. And that is going to be qualifying over once Brute crosses the start-finish line. Where does Brute go? Brute is looking to go top 10. He is just off of that. It is going to be Finn and Blonde on the front row. And your championship leader, not even close to pole.
He was almost 4/10 off.
That's incredible. Anyway, it is 4 different teams in the top 4, but it is Mercedes, Shazoo, Finn leading the way with a 19.5. Then it's Blonde in the front row. Behind that, it's Shazoo, Sam, and Jab entering the second row. C. Bowers and Rev Caterpillar, third row. Behind that, Bad F1 Opinions, Weckass, the 2 Alfa Romeos. They round out the top 10. Outside of the top 10, some people will be looking for Jacob, who did not set a lap and disqualified himself from the session. He's 19th. Term makes some aggressive overtakes. He's 17th in the grid. And Venom, who has made his return a couple races ago, he is going to be looking to possibly pass a lot of people in the grid, as he's been able to do that, like in Austria. We'll find out if he can do the same again.
So something
and,
to
a lot of
point
surprises.
Out, I believe we said that it was Bad F1 Opinion reserving for Cameron, but yet Cameron joined the session and is in a Ferrari.
Well, we'll see how he does in the Ferrari. We'll have to find out. Anyway, a lot of people. Lando said Jab pole. Clarkson said Finn, and Clarkson called it. And now we have a chance to get ourselves ready for the Italian Grand Prix. I mean, Thrasher, even in the lower tiers, we've seen some unexpected podiums at this track. I think we could see some today if the race plays out in the way we expect it to. In Tier 3, there was some rain in qualifying. Tier 2, there was some rain at the end of the race. I think it's a completely dry race, and it's been the first time we've had that in a couple of races here in GSR in Tier 1.
Yeah, I agree, as they are underway for formation lap, so why don't we take some picks? I'll let you go first.
Yeah. All right, thank you. I appreciate it. Now, I'm going to go with 3, but I'll try to go quickly here. Shazoo Finn is on pole, and it has been a little while since he's been on pole, but he's got a good amount of places ahead of Jab, which is about 3 places. And if he's able to keep himself ahead of Jab, he's going to have a good chance to possibly win this race. Now, I mean, he's got to have something to help him. And Akos down in 16th. That's not what he needs to help him. He needs something else to help him in order if he wants to win the Italian Grand Prix. Jab down in 4th. We've seen how he's able to recover. He won last week. And the championship winner of the past 3 seasons always finds a way to win the Italian Grand Prix or an Italy race. So I can see Jab winning today. And also I'm going to go with QBR 20 turn back in 17th right now. Starting this far back is a bit of a surprise from him. And I'm surprised he was not able to set a lap and get one in qualifying. I don't know if he had any penalties that put him back there or anything that he had to serve. But the thing is, we always see Term try to overcome stuff like this. He was able to do so, or able to try to do so in Japan, and he's a great overtaker, and he's very aggressive. So I think he could do it today, back at 17th. Storm, who is your 3 favorites?
You called me Storm, great.
Well, you know the weather.
Okay, well, real quickly, I'll pick someone. I think Black Draw podium last week. I think he's gonna, get another podium this week, start P9. Wish he could have done better, and second and third, just okay. I'm also gonna go with Venom. I think Venom is gonna get a great start, and I think he'll battle points And one more.
Oh, okay.
I'll pick, you know what? I'll pick Brute Gorgon. Brute has had the most horrible luck in GSR this season. I think Brute's going to turn around, and I think he's going to bring home some good points today.
Hey, AlphaTauri has had a lot of bad luck too as a whole team. And Lando, the Tier 2 driver who won the Tier 2 driver who won earlier today, actually scored AlphaTauri's first points of the season. And AlphaTauri scored some points last week too. So maybe they're on the recovery drive to not finish last in the standings. Now, we are waiting for the lights out here in the Italian Grand Prix. It is going to be 27 laps for this one this time around. We're at the halfway point of the season. And if anybody wants to challenge Jab, they got to make a statement now. You can't just challenge him in the races, you gotta challenge him in the championship, and this might be the place to maybe make it happen. Here come the 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix. It's 5 lights! And we're waiting for the drivers to go. It's lights out, away we go. Finn got an amazing start, and Jab is getting next to the Williams and splitting both of them as we head before turn 1. Finn's got a massive lead. Jab second into turn 1 as we head into turn 1 for the first time. Drivers 3 wide. Williams has to go off and use the runoff and gets a corner cutting penalty in the process. He's ahead of Rev Caterpillar, and Rev Caterpillar splits both the Williams. Has a decent start for Jab, the championship leader, up to second, but Finn, an amazing start, already a second ahead.
Yeah,
oh, we have cars off. We have cars off, bad if one opinion, and Blonde made contact into turn 4, and that caused them to go off there, as Blonde has to re-enter the track.
Poor Sam had a horrible start. Went from P3 all the way to P20.
And he is right behind Cameron and almost losing it off the curb. And I think Cameron with damage, he has to let him by 2. Cameron with no front wing, as we have Jab getting challenged here for second place by the Williams. As between the both Williams, Blonde fell back there from, I think, the contact, and now he's crashed. He is around at the exit of Ascari, and that is horrible for his race and the challenge up there. Here comes Astriff on Black Raw for 7th place in this race, gaining a position off the start. Black Raw switching back though, and gets the exit off Parabolica to keep the position, as we have Finn taking the fastest lap and leading lap 1. Oh, but for second place we have C. Bowers, who's got by Jab, and he gets clear of Jab into turn 1, speeding in the pit lane, and is out. That's a retirement. And that could only be the first of many, as we've seen the last couple of Tier 1 races have not had that many finishers. We just gotta hope that Blonde is the only one to retire for now. We have people fixing their front wing. That's Astriff, Venom, Akos, Cameron, who all got caught up in lap 1 deals that required a bit of wing damage to be repaired. But that start from Finn, rather he had a light glitch or something. I mean, he had the best start that you could ask for possible.
Well, no, just
1.7 ahead.
Blonde didn't get it. Blonde didn't go, and then Jesus Sam just did not go whatsoever. I don't know what happened, but he may have had a glitch, but he just didn't go. He fell from like 3rd all the way to like 10th, and then ended up spinning. So.
Well, speaking of these positions gained, I mean, Term up 7, Toon Archie up 6,
quick,
and Brute Gorgon, your favorite, up 5. Ooh, here we go into Parabolica between these two. These two have battled aggressively before in the past couple races, especially, and Ruben Adams is out of the race. Will this bring out a safety car? Yet only a VSC. So Jab was able to keep the position there in Rev Caterpillar for the time being, and we're gonna...
not Black, I meant Alpha. FRT Alpha.
We're gonna keep track of that, though, between these two for 3rd place, because this make it interesting. But yeah, no, your favorite that you picked, Brute Gorgon up 6 spots, Jacob up 9. Terms 8 and Archie 7.
Yeah, couple of drivers have made some really good, has made some good gains so far. Like you said, Brute being one of them, Jacob being one of them, and I think
I think we're about to see the end of the VSC here pretty soon. Sorry to cut in again there, Storm. But we have a train from 2nd place on back, and Rev Caterpillar's ready to go. He almost, look at that. Brute Gorgon's got a drive through, but here comes Rev Caterpillar for 3rd place in this race. He was ready to get restarted. He's got at a Jab. That's the championship leader, who gone from 4th to 2nd, back down to 4th. Wow. And drive-throughs for Shizou, Sam, and Brute Gorgon. So Brute Gorgon was not the only one there to get a drive-through off the virtual safety car restart.
And Brute's bad luck continues.
But that's a part of his own, unless it was a glitch from the game, from what I'm assuming. But DRS here for Rev Caterpillar, who's in this train from second place on back, and these guys are trying to hunt down the race leader of Shizou, Finn. Now, Bad F1 Opinions is the one lurking behind Jab in this train for second place, and it's about to become a train for first place pretty soon, because look at C. Bowers gaining that gap, closing it ever so close to get to the race lead. And yeah, Bad F1 Opinion, I want to speak about him because he had a good start, and he is now being able to challenge Jab for fourth place, your championship leader. And Jacob Egg already up 10 positions. Good for him. We have yellow flag. That's, I think, Sam and Cameron. You're right. We have a battle for sixth place. Toon Archie at the Lesmos, and with Black Raw, they're both going wheel to wheel at a section of the track you wouldn't expect both of them to go side by side. They're keeping it wheel to wheel, and Toon Archie's got ahead. Now here comes QBR20 Term making a statement. He wanted to get some overtakes done. Here he is on Black Raw. Black Raw goes from 6th all the way down to 8th from that. Shizou Sam getting a corner cutting penalty, and he's out of the race now. That might bring out a safety car here. We got to be careful to watch out for that. Out of Parabolica, Jab lost the rear for a second there, lost complete front turn in, and wasn't able to do anything there. C. Bowers fast lap, Rev Caterpillar fast lap. It's going back and forth, but here comes QBR20 Term once again in the DRS train, trying to make some overtakes from his bad starting spot. We've got Gorgon off at Ascari. But here's the battle for 6th place. QBR20 Term has got by. Now here's Jacob Egg looking on Black Raw, and Jacob has lost the rear into turn 1. Toon Archie maybe looking to get back at it for 6th place, and hoping to maybe gain to this train up at the front of the field, which is C. Bowers, who's closing that gap down to the lead, 1.2. That's where the front of the train is. The back of the train is Bad F1 Opinions. 5/10 back as Akos is setting the fastest lap in the Mercedes, who sits back in 16th as of right now.
Something interesting to point out, Term, who's gained 11 spots, meanwhile started on the medium compound tires.
That is something to watch out for. I mean, is he going to go soft to the end? We saw Metrocast try to do that in Tier 3, but the safety car ended up costing him because he ended up getting crashed from it. He probably would have had a chance, but it just did not play in his favor the way he would have wanted it to. And speaking of the race lead, right to the detection point, I think Bowers has got the DRS on your race leader, Shizou Finn. So that gap that was at 1.5 is now down to a second and below, and closing with DRS for second place in this race.
And Bowers, but look at his overtake. It's already into the teens and 20s.
Somebody's overtaker's in a better position as Jab. Here comes Toon Archie as well, re-overtaking QBR20 Term for 6th place in this race. He's got the position in the AlphaTauri, and he has now made Term down to 7th, who is still the highest runner in mediums, as Jacob pits for some softs. He's maybe going the 2-stop route. Bad F1 Opinion still hanging in this train behind Jab, getting ever so close between these guys. Dirty Air will play a factor in this, just keep aware of that. As you see, Rev Caterpillar almost lose DRS right here, right before the second Lesmo, where the detection point is. He's going wide. He's actually track extending a little bit to try to keep up. I mean, you could just tell how much these guys are falling back. But for the race lead, here comes the Williams. Has to back off right there. You can't make a move into a Ascari from that far back. And he lost the rear two there. That's going to allow Rev Caterpillar to possibly gain out of Ascari. Here he comes. He was just so close to losing DRS. Now he's close to re-overtaking the Williams.
Yellow flag. That's Akos.
Well, his race has gone from bad to worse. That's not good for him. Hopefully he can hope for
But
a safety car or something to finish in the points.
It's C. Bowers. Here comes C. Bowers. Will he look to make the move? Not quite. Just slightly too far back.
I'm sure Finn is getting some flashbacks to a couple seasons ago in a lower tier where he was battling for the win in GSR and got into a collision at turn 1 to 2 for the lead. He's battling for the lead and he's in the opposite position as that. Here he comes. This time C. Bowers has to think about that right there. So we had to sector 2. He's just ever so close to overtaking him. But you got to remember, in this race, C. Bowers has a penalty. Him and Alpha both are the only 2 drivers in this race with a penalty. Let's see. Down to Ascari this time. He's much closer than he was last time, so can he maybe make a move out of this? Lower overtake. Akos, 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane, and he has decided to retire from this race. We now have 4 retirements in this race in a span of 7 laps. Losing the rear again out of Ascari. Alpha's out of the session now, and that might bring out a safety car. That's now got down to 5, or got up to 5 retirements. That's out of, I think, where's that at? Oh, that's right out of turn 5, yeah. But yeah, before that happened, C. Bowers, he had to let off the gas and had to be careful to not hit the back of Finn right there. But he's much closer this time. Here he goes, slipstream. Finn moved over to the right, but not close enough to the right. Here comes C. Bowers taking the race lead. He's got it now, but you got to remember he has a penalty, so the net race leader will be Finn. Once everything cycles out. And these guys are toward the end of their stint too in the soft, so we'll be seeing some pit cycles pretty soon with them. And losing DRS in that 5th place is bad F1 opinion, just barely outside of DRS from the front 4. Oh, Finn losing the rear there out of the chicane, the 2nd chicane right there. And keeping it straight. Here comes the battle with 11th place, Astrief and Venom. Venom is trying to protect that position once again. I believe he was the one behind with DRS. Both of them lock up into turn 1, but they keep steady with where they were at. Bad opinion back into DRS as well, by the way. Yeah, and I mean, he's able to do so because I could tell you right now, Finn is the one who's better in Ascari than the race leader C. Bowers, and he's able to execute better off there and better in the middle of Ascari compared to the Williams driver, who's got the lead and took it. We have yellow flag. That is Astrief, who was in that battle with Venom. I'm wondering, is there contact between them that caused that? Oh, that's big. That is big for our race leader. What tire does he go into? I'm assuming it'll be the mediums. Yes, it will. Should be able to make it the rest of the race on that. We have 7 tenths between the lead. Now back up to 8, 9. But remember these guys. Oh, you're right about that. I didn't notice that. That's for 5th. Net P6. Astrief gets a 3-second penalty after his spin. I would take, I know there's been a lot of silence, and speaking of silence, I want to take this time to talk about SilentX Energy. With that being said, SilentX Energy, part of the league, they're a sponsor to us, and a healthy version of G Fuel, as I said. They're making merch for the league now, and I don't think Thrasher wants to kill me this time with mentioning it. So check them out.
I'm not going to kill you.
Well, I mean, speaking of killing, I don't hope these guys for a battle between the lead and the top 4 and 3-car train for 5th place between QBR20 term, Archie and Black Girl. I hope they don't kill each other either. And we'll be focusing on the leaders who could be making a pit stop this time to maybe cover off Finn. Yep, you're right. Caterpillar is the one. Well. Jab is as well. And yellow flag back there, I believe that was Brute Gorgon in the AlphaTauri. He is damaged. So, obviously pitting for the mediums, both of them. Rev Caterpillar's jump jab as expected. And Black Raw is also pitted too. But where Finn is coming out of the start finish straight now. Where does this come into comparison to these guys? They're coming out of the pits now. Finn is going to be ahead of them. But not by a whole lot. That undercut was not as powerful as you may have thought it would have been. But 8-10, yeah, just about the same gaps. So it's not much of a cut. There was, but DRS could play the difference here. Rev Caterpillar is now out of DRS, trying to get back in it using his overtake, which will be powerful. And that fastest lap right there. Jacob Egg his ticket back over. So, with these guys pitting, I'd be expecting C. Bowers and Bad F1 Opinions to be the next guys to pit in this race, considering that those two were in that front train and are going to be trying to cover off a possible undercut from these 3. Yellow flags, though. That was for Venom, I want to say.
I can't tell who that was.
I saw an Alpine in there, so I think it might have been Venom. I don't know if there could have been a collision or if it was by himself. Either way, though, he is just having a struggling race, and it's not what he would have wanted. But he's still definitely got a chance at points. There's still a long way to go. We have pitting. Bad if one opinion. Toon Archie. It's not the race leader, though, but it is bad if one opinion, who was at the back of that train. This should be interesting to watch now. He was at the back of the train. Where's he going to be compared to that? And Venom has spun off, and it's got no front wing now. So bad if one opinion comes out behind Jab, and we have a move. Rev Caterpillar is trying it on Finn. He was close enough there into turn 1, but couldn't make a move. And yeah, speaking about a bad F1 opinion, just out of DRS, where he was before that, though. I think he was just barely inside of DRS before the pit stops had happened, and before the train had split up. So he lost a little bit of time with the undercut. I think he was the only one who did actually lose time from the undercut in this train. But we'll watch out and see if the same thing will apply to the race leader of C. Bowers.
Yeah, something intriguing. C. Bowers is he's losing the. Well, Venom just was in pit. Never mind.
Okay,
but Brute.
Oh!
It turns out.
Oh, unbelievable! The guy who was gonna possibly, and that is gonna help C. Bowers this race so much, and Brute from being lapped too. C. Bowers, the race leader, has just been saved. He might take the race lead here. He's gonna pit. But what I was about to say is, yeah, GSRTHRASHER term, the guy who was gonna try that reverse strategy is out of this race. He been out of Ascari, I think. Yeah, he did. Same place I did. So I shouldn't feel too bad about my retirement in Tier 2. I think that helps me a little bit. But I do feel bad for him. And exiting the pit lane now is C. Bowers. Where does he come out in comparison to Finn? This might be a little bit close, but no, it's not. No, it's not. Never mind. I thought it was a bigger or a smaller gap, but he will take the lead. And the safety car is helped him.
Safety car. I'm gonna go grab a drink.
Good idea. Good idea.
And I'll be right back.
Well, I think he'll have to deal with the dog too. Anyway, with that being said, C. Bowers has got this race lead, and I don't think anybody's yet to pit now, because I mean this safety car is basically preserved a lot of people to pit here, who had not pitted previously in this race. So obviously this helps their chances of getting in this race fight. And something I mentioned prior, and I think it's going to have to mention to some of these Tier 1 drivers again, is that, you know, let me point something out. And I understand their frustration with, you know, their race getting screwed over every week. And some of them still show up, and that's a good thing that they do. But, you know, there's 7 retirements in this race. Some were crashes, some weren't. Some were retirements in the pit lane. But with that being said, I want to mention that in Tier 3 yesterday, you know, I ended up getting damage off the start. I ended up crashing and then was still plumb last. And then I ended up running in the back of the Haas of 6 yards out whenever I was under the safety car and I wasn't paying attention. Well, when that happened, I could have just retired. I thought, okay, race over. But you know what? That safety car at the end saved me. And I know how these races play out. I just, you know, I know some people are like, oh, well, I don't want to run around in 15th place for 20 so laps just to be saved by a safety car. Well, look, I mean, the results matter in this league for some people. And I mean, some people would take it more serious than others. And that I get. But the thing is, the results are what are decided at the end of the day, not how the 20% or 70% of your race was driven. You know, you could be 15th the whole race, you could be 10th the whole race, and whatever. But the thing is, I've seen a lot more retirements recently in Tier 1 in the pit lane, or just simply crashing out, than before. So, I don't know if anyone will listen to it, but my just advice as a commentator is just don't give up, because yesterday I ended up getting a podium in Tier 3 that I probably didn't deserve, but I ended up getting it because I didn't give up. You know, survived. And people need to take that motive more, because Tier 1, this is the highest quality of racing in this league. These are some of the best drivers on Xbox. Like, you know, you look at people like Finn, who's in a team like Shizou. Sam, who's in a team like Shizou, but the Academy. Jab, who you could say, you know, ABS Merchant. Still one of the best drivers on this game. GBR20 term and GBR20. I think that, I don't know if that team's still alive. Anyway. Who was in that team, and he's a great driver. A lot of these guys are great drivers. Well, you see a lot of FRT in here, too. You know, you see a lot of drivers who represent esports teams. You see a lot of drivers who represent people, represent their self on Xbox. And this is the highest quality of racing in GSR. And you have 10 retirements. Look, look, it's my personal opinion. Some people might take it the wrong way. Some people might be angry at me for saying it. But the thing is that there are way too many retirements for a tier like Tier 1. That's all I've got to say. And honestly, as a commentator myself, and as a league owner myself, and as someone who is a previous admin in this league and has been here since the start, that's not what I like to see. I mean, the Tier 4 race at Britain, I think a couple weeks ago, the only retirement, or if there was a retirement, was in the last couple of laps for Tier 4. And you have people in Tier 1 who are retiring by halfway, and it's like half the grid are out. It's the best quality of racing. It needs to be better than that. Anyway, focusing back on the race once again. Top 10 epic movie quotes. Yeah, nice one. But look, a lot of people are still left in this race. Speaking of that, Jacob is entering the pit lane, and we have a crash. Toon Archie's out under the safety car. Did he get into a collision on the straight there? Him and Black Raw, I think, were re-overtaking each other, and that caused a collision. And we have another collision. Both Haas drivers. Astrief has ran in the back of Wekas. I think by lack of paying attention to, and look, I did the same thing yesterday too, so I hope these guys don't feel too bad, but it is Tier 1 again. They weren't paying that much attention. That is pretty embarrassing for themselves. Some of these people have to pit again for their damage. The Haas driver of Astrief being one of them, and that will definitely be an end to a chance at points as of right now, but you know what the way these races end up being, you might have a chance at the end for at least something, for points, who knows. Two teammates, though, have collided under the safety car, and that is not good.
Oh, so, what did I miss?
Toon Archie out of the race. I don't know if he had a collision with Black Draw, but that's the car he was closest to. And Wekas and Astrief both collided under the safety car. Astrief, I think, just lack of paying attention and ran in the back of him. And he's paid the price for it with no front wing. We should be getting back going here, unless Brute. Yep. Never mind. Yeah, we'll go without Brute. We'll go without Brute, who pitted. But your race leader is slowing it down to about 30 miles per hour. And Jab is getting impatient. Rev Caterpillar getting impatient. A lot of these guys getting impatient and trying to gain their self back up to the race lead for third and fourth. Here we go. C. Bowers leading the safety car restart. Thrasher, you take it underway since you just got back.
Oh, okay, cool. Alright, so C. Bowers going slow. He gasses it up, but he'll slow it back down, obviously, due to Parabolica. Waiting. When does he go? When does he go? Now.
Ooh. He got them pretty well, and he's got off the line pretty well to avoid the slipstream. Here comes Rev Caterpillar on Shazoo Finn. Their challenge once again. He can't get by here, but he's got Jab right behind him, and Rev Caterpillar's looking again. Now he has to dart to the right side to make a move into turn one, or force Finn a little bit wide to lock up. Jab is still challenging the Red Bull, and Jab back down the inside. Both of them side by side still, and Rev Caterpillar's got ahead. Now Bad F1 Opinion, who had a chance at this train earlier, has got another chance at it again. Here comes Bad F1 Opinion to the championship leader. Into the second chicane, he's got by.
What a move from Bad F1.
That was good. He timed that perfect. And now he's got a chance to go for the lead and go for a podium. He's on the net podium with the penalty situation as of now. Jacob is got by Weck and the Haas. And we got yellow flags. That's Astrief, who's off and spun. While Rihanna
Jacob and
here comes Jacob.
Squire.
Yeah, the McLaren driver has to help out his teammate somehow. You know, we've got one Red Bull driver left in the race, and he's outperforming both McLarens. Going wide at a Scary. There's Jacob, who lost the rear. Might have gained a little bit of time from that. I'm not quite sure what the race directors will think about that. The Haas of Wekas darting out, trying to avoid running in the back of the McLaren there. As we come off Parabolica for lap 16 of this race. Here comes Jacob on Black Raw in the slipstream. He can easily get him right here. He's going to go by. Purple sector 3 for Jacob on the soft tires, possibly going to the end here. And he could definitely challenge at the front of this field with his speed and with his pace.
Yeah.
With his chance.
Gap is about a second now between Finn and Caterpillar. So when DRS does get activated, that gap could be huge.
Oh, here we go with Haas driver. Oh, darting out right there is Weckass. And here he comes on camera into the outside of the second chicane. Both go side by side. He has to clip the orange curb right there and loses out to him right there. It's just not enough traction that he could want. And behind Jab is Jacob. Jacob's already caught up on the new soft tires. Your championship leader. Already down to 5th. Is this going to be 6th now? He's in slipstream. And Jab has a lot more overtake though. And he's usually conserve that. To a good extent, Jeb has, but he might have to use a little bit of it to avoid getting overtaken by Jacob here. Bad F1 Opinions losing traction right there, but still able to keep ahead of Jeb. Not able to keep DRS right there, but here comes Jacob before Parabolica. This is... Jeb might let him by for the DRS. Yes, he does, so that's a little bit of a smart move, maybe. Or just simply letting him by because he knows Jacob has got the fresher tires, and if he follows him through, maybe he can get something here. Here comes Jacob now. DRS actually enabled that lap. So here's Jacob in the slipstream of Bad F1 Opinions as we head down to turn 1. Bad F1 Opinions is just outside of the DRS range in the detection point 2. The next detection point is in sector 2, so he can't get close enough as of right now, but someone who can help him get close enough is Jacob. We have Brute off at turn 2, the exit of it. Who is spun out there. Bad F1 Opinions got overtaken by Jacob now in the Alpine. Jacob following suit, and his chance to challenge for the race lead after starting all the way down in 19th place is very much alive right now.
Question is can he make the sauce to last some sauce to the end? That'll be the question on everyone's
I mean, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I think if he does, he's going to be in a great battle for the lead. But he's got to pass Rev Caterpillar in order to do so.
Penalty.
Now he will definitely have to pass Rev Caterpillar in order to do so to get the net race lead based off penalties. Squire's also got a penalty too in the McLaren, which would put him all the way down to 9th right now. McLaren 6th and 9th off these penalties as of right now. That's scary to think about for the Constructor Championship leaders. Now here comes Jacob in the slipstream of Rev Caterpillar, who's in the slipstream, and DRS of Finn. Jacob sets the fastest lap while he's at it too. And before turn 1, Rev Caterpillar's thinking of a move. He has to... No, he goes for it! Down the inside, he's able to get through, and Jacob is looking to do the same on Finn. Now he's going for the switchback. And Finn got a terrible exit. Now here comes Jacob back at it, side by side to turn 3. And around the outside with the overtake button, he has got the help with that, and gone for the podium.
And
now the challenge...
Past. Bad F1 Opinion while that was going on.
Now the challenge is for the lead. Oh, here comes Finn! Oh, boy.
That would have been interesting to watch if you...
Yeah, you would have not wanted a collision there, and there could have been. Now, Jacob, who's on the fresher soft tires, has got to get by Rev Caterpillar, who is on the defense right here. And these guys are still losing time to the race leader, who's got the 3-second penalty, but here comes Jacob back at it, and it's got the position. It's Rev Caterpillar, moves just in front of Finn for 3rd place. And Finn's off and out!
Oh my
That's
God!
unbelievable! The both Mercedes have ended up going out of the race, and that is unbelievably over. And safety cars, Rev Caterpillar gets ahead for 2nd place. And you know, C. Bowers was just pulling away, 3.6 right there. And you just did not want to see that.
Caterpillar pits.
Oh, Jab does too.
So does Jab.
I don't know if that's a good decision or bad. Yeah, everybody has just baited them. So Jacob, who's on the 4-lap softs, is going to have 4-lap worse tires than these guys. Everybody going to softs. Jab getting held in the pit lane. This is not good. Wow. Everybody just pitted right there. And Brute's back in a chance at points for AlphaTauri, as you mentioned before.
That could be, you know, any points for AlphaTauri would be helpful.
Yeah. Because Toon Archie's out of this race, so I mean, Brute's the only hope with that, and there's penalties in front of him. So if Brute doesn't pit here for softs, he'll be 10th. And he's going to stay out. So this just got interesting now. Newer soft tires for a lot of these guys. And they'll be on equal playing ground as Jacob, who will be able to challenge the race leader, who's pretty much on his own right here.
It's very interesting that Bowers didn't pit. I mean, honestly, you didn't know what
he didn't know, he was the leader.
Behind him
It was
but
rather do the same as Jacob or do the opposite, or as the same as the front two, and that's what they did. They did the complete opposite, actually. And when you speak about Mexico in the chat, Alicia, I know you're talking about. I watched that race, and Thrasher, you were there as well, I believe, for the Mexico Tier 1 race where there wasn't many finishers. And that's what I was alluding to earlier under the safety car.
Oh, yeah,
that type of stuff with Tier 1 is not what you want to see.
I think
And
there was like
we have a lot of
5
people left, too.
finishers in that race.
Yeah, that's not good. Not a good look. And like I said, Tier 1 is the quality racing. Or, well, should have the best quality racing with the best quality drivers. And the front two do pit. But the thing is, will they come out ahead of Caterpillar, who's your net leader right now as the things stand? That's the question. They're exiting the pit lane just now. So if Caterpillar's got to pick up the pace a little bit to stay ahead. These two are going to be close.
Did pit, so that's very interesting.
But the thing is, even though Jacob did pit, he's on 2-lap used softs.
And they both came out in front of...
Yeah. That's weird how that happened. Because I thought Rev Caterpillar originally was ahead by the time.
At least I thought they would have gotten Jacob. Maybe not Steve Bowers, but I thought they would have both gotten Jacob.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. That's interesting.
Now everyone on softs other than Brute were gone.
Yeah. I mean, but he still runs in the points, so it's fair game to him. I mean, he's just got to hope for something to go his way. I mean, even on the hards, he's around 2 people with penalties. And, I mean, I'm sure, you know, I don't know if you know how the Tier 3 race ended yesterday, but there were a lot of incidents toward the end where things just kicked off. And we can see the same here today.
Getting a penalty at the end.
Shots, losing time. Got the podium, yeah. I mean, Shot losing the time he did and staying out in the mediums. Same with Sam the Nick, who spun out.
Yep.
JR Lizard, and same thing with Metro Cash as well, who spun and got into a collision with each other. I do expect the safety car to come in this time or next, but I'm assuming they'll wait for the
if it's in this time, it'll be a late call.
It will, and that happened yesterday too in the Tier 3 race, so
yeah,
we'll have to watch out for that. And that was scary how that happened too, because you have people packed up right before the start-finish line as the safety car is about to come in, and that could cause a big crowd. Yeah, I mean, definitely. But at a track like Monza, it's even more dangerous than usual with that.
So
no, we don't want.
Do we get the late call? We do not.
Well, unless it wants to say right now. Nope. Yeah, we will though. Will. But I'm assuming that safety car decides right at that white line though, if it's at the latest call, because you see that white line that splits the track there, right before the pit lane. I'm assuming that's where the safety car calls it, just because that's about right where it did yesterday too. That's how late it was. It's crazy to think about. But yeah, Brute is pitting. He's gonna choose his. Yeah, he's gonna choose change the option on his tire, and that's a good option to do so. But he's got to catch back up to the safety car in time to.
I think he'll have enough time. I think he'll be good. Well,
something going on in the back here between the Haas's, but you know, those two collided at the start of the race, or at the start of the last safety car. They're 9th and 10th. They have a chance for getting Haas points here. As I mentioned, they're pretty low in the constructors, so this would be good for them to at least get something for the weekend. You know, I know a lot of people focus on the tier constructors, but I mean, some people also focus on the combined as a team. You know, that's something that's something I look forward to as a Mercedes driver for us to get. And you know, tier one with Akos and Finn, it's not been helping right now, but the other tiers have definitely been people who, you know, don't have bad luck. Or don't have anything that get in their way. So just gotta hope for something for us.
At least Haas will get a point.
Yeah, surely. So. I mean, yeah. Even if they finish or not. Now it's in this lap, but it's a little bit of a later call than it expected, and that's stacked up the field here. Look at how close everybody is to each other now.
Oh my God.
Right in each other's asses as we get to the beginning of Sector 3.
Language.
Says you.
Yeah, I don't say any bad language on
I don't know about that. Let's see. Let's find out if you say any bad language. I'll have you lead the safety car restart here, and with C. Bowers, the race leader.
All right, well, C. Bowers goes, but we know he will.
Might get backed up. Yeah. Ooh.
Oh, maybe he doesn't.
Oh!
What a start
for the lead!
Jacob.
For the lead, I think the safety car did back him up, as we're going to speak about it. Here we go into turn 1. He's in the slipstream, and it's got some overtake. Engaged into turn 1. Jacob going around the outside. Gets him on the brakes, but gets forced out just a little bit and forces him back out to the outside and has got the lead. Now Rev Caterpillar is challenging for this as well. It's a 3-car battle for the lead as C. Bowers is back at it once again, and he has got the inside line now to turn 4 with Rev Caterpillar following.
And Jacob's going to send it down the inside.
Oh!
Go side by side. It's a more contact.
He flies over the curb and goes right into the Williams driver, and luckily did not get any damage, I'd assume. And still in this battle, Jacob picks up a penalty. Now let's put Rev the net race leader and Jab right behind in suit. Jab, your championship leader, is still in this battle and still on for the win. This is how he gets the wins, and this is how he has a chance at the end. He simply survives, has enough overtake. He's got the pace to do so. That's why he's the previous Tier 1 champion too, and won in his first start in Season 1 at Monaco. And speaking of that, we have both Haas drivers switching spots. Brute goes by as well for the last points paying position. But still, for this race lead, as we head into lap 23 with 5 laps to go. This time it's the Williams driver still leading with the penalty he has. He has all deployment used, and that's going to allow Jacob to catch back up on the straightaway. Same with Rev. And Rev right now has no penalties. Same with Jab, and that might be the battle for the win based off the penalties. At least result-wise. On track, though, it's still C. Bowers and Jacob.
Yeah, but now C. Bowers doing his best to pull away. And what can we just say? Very good start to his GSR career. Absolutely running with the top dogs in Tier 1. Oh, Rev Caterpillar! Caterpillar made a huge mistake.
And that's going to allow Jab and Bad F1 Opinions to get to the back of him. And here comes Black Raw as well again in this battle. He was on for a podium last week at the end of the race too. And he's on for a podium again. But what these guys have got to do is make sure they're within 3 seconds of the race lead. Rev Caterpillar's only 1.6. And we have Astrift off. These race leaders have got to work together to pull away and be able to pull out this gap, but they can't do so right now. They're only 1.3 ahead, 1.2, and look at Rev Caterpillar's getting much more better exits and able to pull away from Jab, almost out of DRS right there. 0.7 it was. Jacob, though, for the lead on track with 4 laps to go this time, is just getting ever so close to C. Bowers and the Williams, who's able to pull out the toe, and we have Astrift off again in the Haas. But the battle right now is for the lead. Jacob ducking out. C. Bowers trying to break the toe. For 4th place, it's Bad F1 Opinions looking on Jab. He was close enough to maybe make a move, but couldn't do so right there. Jab is still challenging as well to go catch the net race leader.
No, but again, that's Astrift again.
And I think his chance of, for points is over, but he can only hope for another DNF. Rev Caterpillar hops over the curb! And that is horrible for him. He cannot have the mistakes he's been making through there. He's been consistent through the rest of the track, but not right there. And this may bring out a safety car, as I think that's not in the pit lane.
No, I
Bad
think
F1
that's
Opinions.
in the pit
Bad
lane.
F1 Opinions has got Black Draw too for 5th place, but they've got themselves out of DRS. Here comes Jab, though, for the net race lead! He's got by, and now they've got to keep within 3 seconds. They've got the gap at 1.2 with the 2 race leaders. And yeah, Bad F1 Opinions passing Black Raw. He had to get by there, or at least stay ahead. He's done that, but he's just got himself out of DRS, and that's caused this big train from 5th all the way back to the last finisher of 10th place. Rev Caterpillar back at it. He does not have much ERS to play with, though. He is challenging as well. Here comes Jacob to the outside of C. Bowers for the race lead once again. C. Bowers is able to protect it and hold it and keep it. He's got the lead. He's held on to it. Now behind that, Jab, he's able to keep 3rd place, which, we have Square off. He has gone down to 10th place, and Bad F1 Opinions has got passed by Cameron's out. Who's out? And Bad F1 Opinions is no for wing as well. Jacob is ever so close again for this race lead, but these guys are just only 1.9 ahead of Jab, who is the first guy with no penalties. They've got to extend, they've got to work together in order to keep this gap going. Jab has still got the net race lead and could be on for another win this season. But he's still got Rev Caterpillar, who's just barely in DRS as we're about to reach 2 laps to go.
Jacob's all over the back of Bowers. Is just hunting him down.
He is just so close, man. I mean, look at this. Look at this for the lead. This is crazy how this is going. 9 finishers to end off this race so far. We have Brute Gorgon, who's got by for 6th place as well. Weck has got no front wing. Oh, he's going off. He's retired on track 2, which you're not allowed to do. But for the race leader comes Jacob. Once again, the Alpine drivers got ahead.
Well,
Bad if one opinions is out. He's got the lead, but he's got to hope that he can keep it, though. And he's got to hope that these guys can extend. 1.9, that gap is still not changing much. 0.6 between Rev Caterpillar and Jab, which is the gap for this net win. And it's a matter of, as well, can Jacob and C. Bowers keep the podium, too? Jacob's on it right now off penalties. C. Bowers not. Jab's got DRS now. That's the one thing that he's hoped for in this battle with Rev Caterpillars. He doesn't have it either. So Rev Caterpillar wins has slipped away from him, and it looks like, unless something dramatic happens in these last 4 sectors. I mean, the battle for the race win is still on, because this is the battle for the last podium spot, too. Whoa, C. Bowers runs wide. And he could potentially be out of DRS, too, which could have decided the deal there for the last podium spot.
It's close.
Like I said,
I don't think he's going to get it.
No, doesn't look like it. We'll see here. No,
he might. He might barely just get it.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
No, he missed.
Jab's got it, though. Jacob's pulled away, and he has led the second to last lap while taking the fastest lap. Jab is in DRS and has got a chance for second. He doesn't need to go for this, but you think he might just in case these penalties get removed. Are they appealable, though? That might be the question. Rev Caterpillar as well is 2.9 behind, so he might not even finish second. He might still be he might be third. He's lost a lot of time.
Yeah, doing everything he can.
3/10.
It's all going to come down to the straight.
And Jab, is he even on 2 warnings to get any penalties? We'll check that quickly right now. Jab, 1 warning. So yeah, no, he will not get any penalties unless something dramatic happens again. Here he comes for second place, though. On track. He's got by. Jab has got by, and Jab has got the position. He's clear. He's ahead. Jacob has performed dramatically great and has still been able to hold off on track. Jab, though, off penalties. 1 win, 2 win, 3 win, 4 win. Now, we're going to make it 5 for Jet Bully MSU. The championship leader is back on top for the 2nd week in a row. He wins the Italian Grand Prix. It's back-to-back Italy races for the McLaren. And the American has done it again. He's on top. With Jacob on the podium, he was able to keep second. Rev Caterpillar, just barely, though, misses out on third. Or misses out on second. He's third. And C. Bowers is off the podium. And even though you
C. Bowers may not get the podium, but what a drive from C. Bowers today.
Still great. Jacob all the way from 19th, though, won it on track. That has to be talked about, too. Even though he didn't win enough the penalty, still won it on track. And he started 19th. Which is crazy.
That was a absolutely astounding final couple laps.
It was. We'll get the interviews, and Jab will have some Chick-fil-A to offer for him as well. He has it ready. I heard he has it ready. I heard he has DoorDash he orders it off of. So we'll see how that goes. Either way, here are the podium finishers. It's Jab ahead of Jacob, and then Rev Caterpillar, your top 3. Fast lap to Jacob. He'll get an extra point for that. And the pole point.
But look how much he got it by.
Over Jab, yeah. That's how much they were pushing this last lap, too. I mean, Jab really wanted to get by, just in case any penalties got removed. You don't know what could happen. Look at that. That is incredible. And I don't think Jacob will get it removed, though, if he is looking to do so, because he does have another warning with it. But now what I'm wondering, though, is I'm wondering how C. Bowers got that 3-second penalty, because on lap 1, it says invalid lap time, though. So he just simply got corner cutting with 3 seconds, though. I'm wondering if he's going to get that appealed or not. We'll find out later on with later on in the week when penalties and appeals get decided if he's looking to remove that, because he might have got out in lap 1 from getting punted off or something. So we'll find out. Anyway, we have the podium finishers with us. We have Jab and Rev Caterpillar with us. We'll start off with Rev Caterpillar, who held on to that podium in 3rd place. You had the battle with Jab. You had a really hard-fought race up at the front of the field. I know losing DRS to Jab in the end did not help you in your stance to go for the win, but it's still a podium. It's still something. How do you look at that race from your perspective, Rev? And make sure your audio is included.
Yeah, it's included. It was like hellish because some idiots took out all the braking markers. So I had no idea where to brake the whole race from about lap 5 onwards. And it was the same for Finn. I think that might be where I crashed. But and obviously the line ABS merchants didn't. I was just kind of just stuck really for the last stint, just trying to hang on really because my pace wasn't there at all. Trying not to make a mistake and give somebody damage.
Yeah. Do you think if the braking marker boards were not taken out, you probably would have had a chance to battle Jab a little bit more and stay within DRS by those last laps?
Yeah, well, I definitely wouldn't have lost DRS, but it is what it is. P3 is still okay, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you had great battles this week, and I expect you to have great battles every week as you've performed great ever since you came into this league. And speaking of a good track for battles, I don't know about necessarily on this game if it's a good track for battles, but it is a good track for battles in general in league racing. Belgium, next week, what do you expect from there after having the battle you did with Jab and everyone else at the front of the field today?
Yeah, if we can get another podium, that'd be nice.
All right, well, congratulations on the podium. Thrasher, do you have any questions?
No, I don't, but absolutely remarkable drive, and congratulations on your podium.
Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, Thrasher, I'll let you handle the Chick-fil-A man of Jab with the win.
Great. Wonderful.
Make sure your audio's included, Jab.
I got you. Alright, so Jab. So, not the greatest qualifying from you. You know, obviously P4, which is still good, but for your sakes, you should be getting pole. Don't know why you didn't get pole. L plus ratio. But, no, but in all seriously, you know, you didn't have the greatest race from your, you know, from your perspective. You were running about, you know, 3rd to 5th, well, 3rd to 6th, I should say, our race. What was was it just a problem with the car, or was it a problem, like, why weren't you, like, what was wrong with the car, and pretty much just talk about your race.
Well, my issue was a little bit of straight lines. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great compared to everybody else. But no, just kind of being patient. Wasn't really hitting a scary, you know, that well. So I was losing a bunch of time there. But once we got onto like the soft tires, those last 2 laps, I started tryharding. Like, and like once Caterpillar let me go, you know, I just started pushing like crazy to get Bowers, because I knew his 3-second was probably gonna get removed. It's an invalid lap time.
Yeah.
So he was my focus. So when Jacob got past him, I set my sights after Bowers and got on the last lap and the winning.
Well, it was, even though you weren't leading all the laps today, you led the one, well, technically you didn't even lead that lap either. But you did end up pulling up the win. We'll see if, I don't think Jacob can get his, penalty removed, but we'll see, if he makes a ticket or whatever. But congratulations on, yet another win, and again, extending your championship gap to, God, it's gotta be like 80 plus points or something.
I mean,
like
he's
that.
going to clinch it by, I mean, a couple races to go.
He could
If he
clinch
keeps
it
going for
next
sure.
week.
I don't know about next week. I don't think it's that bad, but I
We
do
don't
think,
have that
you know,
many scheduled. We don't have that many races left.
Yeah,
I don't
but it's
think it's
what,
next
15,
week,
16
though.
race season though? Yeah, no, not. I mean, Jeb's
wait,
good,
never
but not that
mind. We
good.
still got 7 more races left. I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't paying attention to them.
Any more questions for Jeb, Storm? Before I ask him?
No. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I did. So this is your 5th win in the season now, and we go to Belgium next week. Talk me through the expectation for Belgium with your 5th win now, and for the rest of the season with with the way you performed today? I mean, it wasn't one of your best races, but it was one of your most consistent, and that's how you got the win today.
Well, this was the stretch of the season I was trying to survive Imola, Italy. Not both Italian tracks I suck at to my standards, which you could tell by the qualifying performances.
Yeah, definitely.
But if I could, my plan was to survive this round, then we could get to like the Belgiums, the France, the Chinas. Those was where are kind of my tracks. So if I can,
Yeah.
so going to the season where I'm kind of enjoy the actual tracks instead of tracks I'm just hoping to get a podium minimum or maximum, you know. But yeah, I think we should do good at Belgium though.
Definitely. Well, my last question then is the championship winner in the last 3 Tier 1 seasons has went on to win at least one of the Italy races. You've won both Italy races. How does that give you confidence for the rest of the season to go clinch a championship maybe earlier than you expected to?
It's a great stat to be a part of. And I think I can keep it going unless something major happens. We can just
Who knows?
keep rolling.
Let's be honest here. The only thing that gives Jab confidence is Chick-fil-A.
Facts. Exactly.
So you have some big order right now.
Up,
You have
good.
some big order during the race. What's the deal with that? That's my question. That's my last question.
What was the question?
Big order. With Chick-fil-A, is it ordered during the middle of the race for you to have once you win the race, or is it ordered after you win the race? What's the deal there? Or before the race?
Before and after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I have to know one thing. This doesn't regard anybody on the podium, but real quick, Brooke Orgon bringing home his first points. I gotta know his reaction because I know you were in the party with him.
He was. We were laughing because we thought, I don't know if he like spun or something was happening.
He spun like 5 times during the
Yeah, so
Yeah, it is his first
I
race,
heard
right?
a
Yeah.
bunch of laughing. I left him right foot so I could see his reaction.
I had to ask. Alright, well, that's, I think, all the questions for us to a race winner and to our podium finishers. PNB, go ahead and end it on out.
Well, I was gonna say before we do so, Tier 4 is tomorrow, Italy, and you'll be racing that race tomorrow, Thrasher, I'd assume. Tier 4 tomorrow, Italy. What do you kind of expect there for tomorrow? You as a driver.
I expect to get wrecked out. That's my expectation.
Oh, that's not a good motive to go. I mean, but hey, if you don't have that much expectations, maybe it'll be a better race for you then.
I have horrible history at this track.
Well, you never know how it could go.
I'm gonna pull a Davis and I'm gonna get Raptor.
Well,
I'm going for the race.
We'll find out how that goes, because I mean, there's just like in that race, there was an unexpected winner, just like in yesterday's Tier 3, there was an unexpected podium. Who knows what happens? So maybe we'll see you back on the top again. We'll find out. I mean, I could see it, but either way, that's it. Tomorrow's Tier 4, 3:30 Eastern, 8:30 UK. Next week's Belgium. We'll have to see how that goes for all the tiers. And that's it from me and Thrasher. Thrasher, do you want to quickly talk about SilentX before I end this?
Yeah, real quickly. One more time for the people who joined in after we spoke about it the first time. Tune in to SilentXEnergy.com. They sell healthier energy drinks, healthier than G Fuel. We also got GSR merchandise coming up. Shirts, hats, beanies, and all little things. Once again, SilentXEnergy.com to support GSR.
That's right. So it is Belgium next week for Tier 1 and for all the tiers, and it is Italy. We're back here tomorrow for Tier 4. We will see you guys then. It's me and Thrasher, Ryan Ocon 31 and Thrasher signing off with this one. We will see you guys next time. Have fun.